Hey, what's going on, guys? How's everybody doing today? Markel's TV here, the podcast, back with another video. Hopefully, everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. I was able to relax and get some rest. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get this video started today. And with today's topic, we're going to be talking about presumptive service connection. Now, what is presumptive service connection? So let me go ahead and bring up some information real quick to show you guys what this is that I'm referring to. And it says it's here, VA presumes that specific disabilities diagnosed in certain veterans were caused by their military service. VA does this because of the unique circumstances of their military service. If one of these conditions is diagnosed in a veteran in one of these groups, VA presumes that the circumstances of his or her service caused the condition and disability compensation can be awarded. Now, what brought this video on was a comment that was left behind by a subscriber where they were saying that a lot of veterans, the older veterans, don't apply for benefits simply because they're unable to prove that the injury or whatever they have currently occurred or started in service. They can prove it. There's many ways you can prove it, including what they said were no good buddy statements. You definitely want buddy statements. Now, presumptive service connection. How do they prove this? It's not very hard. Let's say that you were in during Vietnam. And let's say during Vietnam, you were in an area where Agent Orange was contracted, but you showed no signs. Here it is 40, 50, 60 years later. You're now suffering from the same things that some of the individuals who had Agent Orange are suffering from. How can you prove that? Well, that's where your DD-214, your buddy statements now come into play. Because with your DD-214, it shows your time in service. It shows where you served, where you were. And the presumption by the VA is because you were in this location at this particular time with all the other veterans who were in there, would say what to the VA? That more than likely you contracted that same disease or that same illness from being in that same location. That is what presumptive service connection is. The thing about it is, though, and it goes back to credibility. You need credibility. Now, you can't just go and make up something because you're trying to get money and say, oh, yeah, I served in Vietnam when you served in 1989 was nowhere near a conflict. You understand what I'm saying? Credibility has a lot to do with it. Let me see who I got on here. What's up, Barry? How you doing today? Top of the morning to you, sir. Living in Mexico. How you doing? Top of the morning to you as well. So let me go back to some other things here to show you guys real quick of what I'm referring to, because this is from the VA's website and it talks about these different groups. Now, I'm not going to read each one of these, but the one I want to focus on the most is the top group. Veterans in this group identified below. I'm going to show you a list, right? And with a little bit of research, and if you're an older veteran and you can't do any research, you got grandkids, you got kids, or you got friends, you got somebody that can help you research to figure these things out if you really want them. Because there's no excuse now. There's no excuse. When people say, oh, well, man, you know, this happened in service and I got no way to prove it. Are you still in contact with some of the people that you serve with? Are you on Facebook with them? Are they willing to write you out a buddy statement? Because I'm going to do a video on a buddy statement. When they say that buddy statements are no good, I'm going to show you how buddy statements can help you. And I'm going to give you a clear example of a buddy statement in today's video. But let's look at some of the things that are used for presumptive service connection, specifically in group 1. That's the one I want to focus on today, is group 1. Okay. Now here's a list of the different conflicts, and it's showing you things that would be presumed service connected. I'm going to show you the complete list, but this is just starting out. It's too much to fit on this one page. But you got former prisoners of war, Vietnam veterans, Agent Orange, so on and so forth. I'm going to give you all a minute to read through this, and then I'm going to put on the next one. Because when people say you can't prove it, you can prove it. but you need your military records to show you were actually in that location at the time it happened. You can't just throw things out there and think the VA is just going to take your word for it. They're never just going to take your word for it. You're going to have to be able to prove where you were. So if you were in the Gulf War era and you served in the Southwest Asian theater of the operation, then yes, more than likely, you would have contracted that illness. But if you served during the Gulf War area and your ass was stationed at Fort Blitz, had never even gone anywhere, you think they're just going to take your word for it? Absolutely not. Now, here's the rest of this. Just think about which ones were at the top and continue to read through this. I'm going to go to some of these comments here that were left behind. But that's the thing, man, is you got to be honest. You can't just think that they're going to just take your word for it, or you listen to some of your other buddies go, hey, man, I write a statement saying we were there together, as if the VA is not going to check their DD-214, look at your DD-214 and see you two were never in the same location. You can't just make up stuff. All right, so we looked at that. Let me see who else I got on with me real quick. Let's see, Mr. Miles, how you doing today? Shrimp fried rice, what's going on, man? Yes, wonderful weekend. Good afternoon to all from North Carolina. Okay. BN, what's going on? How you doing today? Mr. Collins, good morning. Hope you're doing good. I'm still trying to understand. You have presumptives and they still deny your claim when you have medical records and diagnosis. Now that's a whole nother topic. Now, getting into proving it and then getting into being awarded it is two different things. So I'll get into that one in a later date. Who said buddy statements are no good? I had a comment. What video? I forgot what video I did. I think it was the video I did talking about what's up, veteran, and changing my schedule, making more. This is the focus than my other channel, where someone wrote that buddy statements are no good. And I'm like, no. Okay, because I'm gonna give you guys a clear example of a buddy statement that you can use, and I'm gonna make a video going more over buddy statements. But in this particular video, when he said that a lot of veterans don't file because they can't prove what happened, that's not true. That is not true. Now, what is difficult to prove sometimes is if you're in the field, say you're in combat, you're in the field, you hurt your knee, right? But you never saw a doctor. You were able to overcome it. And you want to say, okay, well, I had this knee injury in service, but there's no medical records for it. That's where buddy statements come in. Because if you can give them a credible story, your buddies can write up a story in their own words, because this is what trips up a lot of people. They want to copy and paste. Here, let me write this up. You sign it, you sign it, you sign it, you sign it, and we turn it into the VA. They're not going to accept that because you just copied and pasted and put people's name at the bottom. That's not a true buddy statement. That's just a copy and paste. Mr. Markel, you have an awesome opening and so professional. Love that. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Mr. Book, let's say, hey, Markel, I hope you're having a great day. Yes, sir, Harry. I hope you are as well. Salute to the vets. What's up, Mr. Clark? How you doing today? My man, Howard. What's going on with you, bro? What's up, Markel? Hope all is well. Yes, sir, Mr. Chance. Hope you're doing well. Mr. Man, what's going on with you today? Let's see. Teach my brother dropping gold today. I'm just trying to put this information out there, man, because it's too many times where we want to blame other people or blame things when information is readily available for us. All we got to do is look for it. Okay. Now, when it comes to buddy statements, let me show you guys an example. It might be a little hard to see because this wasn't the clearest example I could find, but here's an example of a buddy statement. And it gets straight to the facts. Okay. It says it served with the veteran. It gives a specific time frame for the veteran. They attach their DD-214 to show they served at the same time, at the same location with the veteran. That's very important. You can't have somebody write a buddy statement. They're not even in the same location, never even served with you and say, yeah, this is what happened to them. No, You want credible buddy statements? You need people who were actually there. That's how you get credibility. Then it talks about the date, if they knew the date of what happened. What happened at that time frame? They remembered what he did, what he was complaining about, and what medications that he took. This is how you write a buddy statement. You don't take this, copy, paste, and then write it, because everybody's different. Everybody's going to word it different. Some people may phrase it this way. Other people may start the phrase out with, I served with, or they may say, during this time, I was serving with blah, blah, blah. There's many different ways people are going to write it, because nobody thinks the same. That's why when you people are trying to give out buddy statements and you copy and paste, whoever the reviewer is, they just going to look at it and go, nah, this is no good, because they're going to believe you just made it up. It's not in their own words. That's why it's very important, man. But buddy statements do work when they're written like this, giving facts, giving a DD-214, giving an account that you all were in the same place at the same location, and they were well aware of what happened to you. Let's see what other comments I got here. Mr. Slate, my buddy statement worked for my sleep apnea. I'm trying to tell you, man, when they said the buddy statements don't work, the buddy statements do work. Your spouse's statement works. Your family statements work, because they know the person that you were before you left. And now they see the person that you are now that you're back. They know that you're not the same person. So I don't know why. Well, for some, like I said, it depends on what you're putting in the statement, how you're writing the statement, because I'm trying to give you guys clear examples of things that work. Not of what my buddy said down the street or what this guy told me over here. No, clear things that work. You want to be precise, and you want to be clear in what you're saying, and you want to give clear evidence of what you're saying. Thank you for your research and knowledge. No problem, sir. Veteran buddy of mine on his award letter said he's a Gulf War era veteran, but on the other side of the award letter says that they can't find if he served in the Gulf War. Please make me understand. So on the award letter, oh, he served during the era. Okay, so yeah, you could be in during the Gulf War era, but that doesn't mean that you served during the Gulf War. You can still get the same benefits by being in a wartime era. For example, a lot of people who served in the 80s up to about 1990, when the conflict started, were not in during the wartime era. So they don't get the same benefits that someone who served before them in Vietnam and people who served after them during the Gulf War and all the conflicts that have happened since then. So you can be a Gulf War era veteran, but never served in the Gulf War. There are millions of veterans out there like that right now. There are millions of veterans who served during the Vietnam era who never saw conflict, but were in during that era. So you get the benefits of being in that era without actually going to the conflict. Let's see. I wish I could show the letter our full colonel and general wrote up before we left the theater in Iraq. Yeah, don't do that. Don't put that out there, Mr. Miles. You want to leave that personal, but yeah, don't put that out there. But hopefully, Mr. Collins, you understand that part that I'm explaining right there. Okay. Now, here is a list, and there are tons of lists out there, guys, and I want to use this one as an example. Here is a list of Camp Lejeune's water when it was contaminated, okay? Here are an example of some. This is not even the full list of what some of the causes from that contaminated water at Camp Lejeune, which is a Marine base, that some of the veterans had, and it gives the code. You know how easy this is to find? If you type up on Google, VA presumptive list for veterans, don't put exposed and contaminated and all that, just put list for veterans. There's going to be a ton of these that come up that give you the diagnosis along with the code that you can look up to be very specific with your situation if you were in at that point where they had this contaminated water. You have to be the one to initiate it. Our government is never going to just come out of the blue and say, yes, were you in at this period? We want you to come in. You may have this, you may have that. No, you have to be the one to initiate it. You don't wait for the government to do it. You, because you know when the government does it. Let me tell you when the government does it. You guys are familiar with the Tuskegee Airmen, right? Do you know how long it took for them to be recognized? Do you know how long it took for them to be awarded the medals that they got? It took so long that there were only 3 left. All the other ones had died. Look at the same thing that happened with Vietnam. They're just now starting to recognize Vietnam veterans and how they've been treated. Look how long that took. They waited till all of them were damn near dead. Then they decided, okay, now we're going to go ahead and acknowledge that all these things happened. Look at the Clear Blue Water veterans. Again, they waited so long to damn near all of them are gone before they turned around and recognized it. So don't wait for the VA or the government to recognize you or to reach out to you, because most of you are going to be damn near dead before they do anything. That is the pattern. Don't believe me? Go back and research it. That is the pattern. They wait until everybody is damn near gone. Then they go and they recognize this should have happened back then. But at that point, it's too late. It's not like they're contacting that veteran's family going, you know what? We did this veteran wrong. We want to pay you for all the time that he lost that he should have given to you as his family. How many times have you heard the government do that? Never. So do not wait for the government to contact you regarding these things. If you were in during these points of time, if you were in contaminated water, the blue water from the Navy veterans, you were in Gulf War when those chemicals were out there, Vietnam, Agent Orange, don't wait for the government. Don't wait. If you're suffering for any of these things, do not wait. You need to get on it, do your research, find out, okay, is this what I have? And if it's what I have, is it related to my military service when I served in 1993, when I was in Iraq in 1991? Is this what I had from this? Is this where I caught this from? This is what you need to do. 38 CF 3-303B presumptives. Yeah. Who is this? Save fam. Okay. Now, are there any other questions when it comes to presumptives, service connections? Hopefully everybody understands what that is now, because in a nutshell, if you served at a period in time where there were issues, whether it was, again, Agent Orange, some kind of chemical that was released in the air in Iraq, contaminations on the base, the 3M earplugs, okay? That's another one. It may have never caused you a problem. You may have never had a problem for 30 years. All of a sudden, one day, that one issue is now coming back to bite you. And you're like, well, I don't have any medical records. Well, with a lot of these, you didn't need medical records. With Agent Orange, you didn't need medical records. You needed to be in that specific area at that time. That's what the presumptive is. Let's see. He was there and go, but I told him to get his medical records. I told him it's easy to deny you if you don't have your medical records. Well, it's going to be hard to deny him if his if his DD 214 shows that he was actually there in the Gulf. Then yeah, that's what he needs to prove. Because if the question is whether or not he was there, your DD 214 will prove that. The fact that you were there at that point, your DD 214 shows that. All your time in service, because that DD 214 is like your birth certificate. Everywhere you went, every award you got, every Article 15 you got, all that's on your DD 214. All of that information. So if he was there and he served, he will have dates that he arrived. He have dates that he left. He'll have dates of where he was stationed. All that information is on his DD 214. So that's why when it comes to presumptive, there wasn't always medical records, especially for Vietnam veterans. Okay. Remember, it wasn't that long ago that they switched from paper to everything being electronic. And there were some people's files that never made it in there. But because of where they were with proving it with their DD 214, they were able to get their service connection due to presumptives. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense to a lot of you guys. Sometimes your DD 214, is more valuable than the medical records, especially when it comes to presumptives. Because again, I don't know about you guys, but I remember guys being hurt and didn't want to say anything because, for one, they didn't want to be transferred. Two, they liked the group of the people that they were around, and they knew that if they couldn't perform certain jobs, they would transfer them somewhere else. So they wouldn't say anything. They would just suffer through it. There's plenty of guys out there who had injuries, said nothing, and just continued on. Car accidents, on base, all kinds of accidents. Things happen. Not everything got reported. But people do recall things like that happening. This is where buddy statements come in. Okay? Now, are there any other questions when it comes to presumptives or when it comes to buddy statements? But I am going to do a video on buddy statements because for some people out there to believe buddy statements are no good, no. I think it's more having to do with the way you're either writing up the buddy statement or you're just copying and pasting. That's probably more of it, because if I looked at something that someone gave me and it's just copied and pasted and they just put signatures at the bottom, I'm not paying it any attention because it's not in their own words. Okay, guys, though, are there any other questions at this point when it comes to presumptives? Let's see. I'm receiving benefits right now for CFS, IBS, and fibromyalgia under presumptive conditions. Okay. See, there you go right there. I forgot what CFS is, but I know irritable bowel syndrome. But yeah, all of that is just from presumptives of him being in a particular area at a particular point in time. The VA has already recognized, okay, if you were in this area from 19 whatever to 2000 whatever, then you probably have these conditions. Thanks for clearing that up. I think he's lying because he said he had a lawyer can't help him line better. Yeah. Yeah, he's making something up at that point. Thanks for the information on presumptive conditions. Absolutely. Hopefully this helps somebody out. If you have a child that was in, or you were in yourself, your grandfather was in, and they're suffering from certain conditions, I'm telling you, go to Google or go to Siri or Safari or go to Bing or whatever search engine. Put in Veterans Affairs presumptive list. It's going to give you a list of all the different conditions along with the code that you can look up to see if these are issues you're currently having. If you're having, your grandfather's having, your child that was in was having, this is how you can go back and get the help that they need instead of you just wondering, well, I don't know what to do. You know, we don't have medical records. We don't have this. We don't have that. That's what this is for. Markel, what's good? Yes, a friend of mine utilizes buddy statements that did help. Absolutely. I'm telling you, man, buddy statements help. Is how you're writing it and putting it in your own words. What's up, Mr. Thompson? How you doing? Hopefully you same guys who are on right now caught the video I did earlier talking about the recalls for those of you who are on sleep apnea machines from the Philips recalls. If you have your sleep apnea machine, ventilator, or PAP before April 26, 2021, you need to contact the VA. He was on the USS Spank shit. Okay. Oh, another thing real quick. And I think Howard brought this up on a live I did on my other channel. This morning, I needed to go to the VA.gov's website because you guys are aware e-benefits is going away. If you notice on e-benefits, when you go there, they transfer damn near every time you click on to something to VA.gov. That's the new site. So e-benefits is going away. But for those of you who are overseas, all right, I tried to log on this morning, which had never been a problem before. It will no longer allow me to log in using Colombia's IP address. Can't do it anymore. On va.gov, I'm no longer able to just log on using Colombia's IPS address. I had to go get my American phone, use a hotspot from my American phone to my laptop in order to go to the website in order to use it. So I think Howard or someone else brought that up, and it had never happened to me before, that you're either going to need a VPN if you're going to live overseas, or you're going to need an American phone with American IPS address, American service, for you in order for you to use some of the services overseas when it comes to the VA now. Just so you all are aware of that. Now, I haven't tried it yet with My Healthy Vet, but I'm going to assume it's going to end up being the same thing. Now, I haven't tried it yet either with Social Security. So I will make a video if it turns out Social Security, VA.gov, as well as My Healthy Vet all now require an American VPN. I will let you guys know. He put in for fibromyalgia. Now you know that was a winning claim or a lying loser. Yeah. I got you, Mr. Collar. Let's see. My supervising officer buddy statement was crucial for me receiving 100% PTSD. He was present during my stressor event. Okay. Oh, yeah, it definitely helps if you can get a lieutenant, a colonel, general, by chance, to write you a buddy statement. Oh, that's going to go a long way. That's going to go a long way versus just, some of the people who were there, they figure, okay, you guys were just buddies. They'll still take their word for it if it's credible. But if you can get, your commanding officer to write up a statement for you, you good to go. Let's see. I went to multiple CMP exams for presumptive conditions, still waiting for a decision. I went to a VA CMP examiner, then QTC, and then VES in 6 months for the same claim. This ever happened to you? No, I've never gone through a situation where I've had to wait for a presumptive. And no, I've never gone through that many CMP exams in 6 months. No. I'm sure there might be some other veterans here who may have, Mr. Ramirez, but as far as me personally, no, that seems like a lot to go to the VA CMP, then QTC, and then VES in 6 months, all for the same claim. No, I've never done that. Now, I wanted to bring up something that Blank Slate had a question, and I'm not aware of it at all. And I said I was going to bring it up in this live. So let me see, Marquette, do you get dental work through the VA? Yes, but not here. Here overseas, no. You got to pay for it out of pocket. Unless you have a service connected something for dental through the foreign medical program, you got to pay out of pocket. But in the States, yes, I do. Okay, now Blank Slate left me a statement for fiscal years after 2016. Now, I had never heard of this, and I was awarded Social Security back in 2013. In, what was it? July of 2013. Wow, that's been that long ago. Okay, so July of 2013. Now, Blank Slate statement was that there was supposed to be, prior to the fiscal year of 2016, where veterans who were 100% were automatically getting Social Security. Okay. I'm not aware of anyone prior to 2016, including myself, who was automatically given Social Security. Does anyone here or have anyone here receive Social Security automatically from just being 100% through the VA? just out of curiosity, because I've never heard of such a thing. Never heard of it. I mean, he laid out some information, on the background to give me some information about it. But as I was trying to explain to him, and which a lot of you guys should know this who apply for Social Security. Social Security, even though it is a federal program, okay, your state makes the first two decisions before it even goes to a federal judge. And the state has its own rules and regulations that it goes by through the DDS service, which is called the Disability Determination Service. They don't always follow what the federal government does. So you all should understand that just because the federal government says this, that doesn't mean the state is going to go by it. And to give you some examples of what I'm talking about, who remembers Obamacare when they passed that, I forgot what you call it, but they offered all these states money, right? Well, it's the federal government giving out money. So you think the states will take it. Well, if the states didn't want Obamacare, guess what? They didn't take the money. The federal government couldn't make them take it. States have their own rules. Give you another one. Okay. You remember this enhancement of $300 with unemployment. What have states begun to do? Reject that money because they don't have to take it. States have their own rules. So when it comes to things like that, guys, just because you find something that says, well, the federal government says this, that may be true. But if it's going through the states have their own rules and their own say-sos. Okay. So when it comes to Social Security, the first two, the initial decision, the appeal, that's your state. That's not the federal government. The federal government doesn't get involved in your decision in Social Security until you go see a federal judge. Remember, presumptive means they presume you have the disability. So if it's on the list, just get diagnosed for it, put in a claim. It's not that hard. These are the easiest ways to go for a VA claim. I'm not gonna say it's the easiest way, Mr. Collins, but if you were, like I said earlier, if you were in at this specific time, the VA has already acknowledged if you were in at this point, you should have this disability. The VA has already acknowledged it. So if you were in at this point, you're suffering from whatever's on that list, there's no reason why you shouldn't already have a claim, a disability in, and being paid monthly for your disability. It's just that simple. Okay, I'm not saying it's the easiest way, Mr. Collins, but I do agree with you. They've already, presumptive means they believe you already have it. That's basically what it means. They believe if you served in Vietnam, you were in whatever area in Vietnam where Agent Orange was, you more than likely have it. They've already acknowledged it. Same with Gulf War. They've already acknowledged it. So if that was you in at that point, why have you not filed? No problem, blank slate. I'm just saying, for me, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of veterans getting it automatically approval because they were 100%. That damn sure didn't happen for me. It didn't happen for me at all. And I know several other veterans that did not happen, that are still fighting right now to try to get SSDI. I don't know why. With some veterans, it's easier. Some veterans, it's much harder. I don't know if it's because of what their conditions are or what's in their medical records. I have no idea what's in their medical records, but for some veterans, it's a lot easier. Some veterans, is much harder. Let's see. I would like to know if given a tropical cream for knee pain and a tropical cream for eczema and service connected for both, do you get clothing allowance for both creams? Are they both in the same area? Okay. Put it to you an easy way like this. I have knee braces on both knees, one on the left, one on the right, right? So you would think I'm going to get paid for two. No, I'm only wearing one pair of pants at a time. So how many do I get? One. Also, with my left leg, I have a cream that qualifies along with that knee brace. Again, I only get one pair of pants. I only need one pair of pants at a time. So would I get two because those two in the same area? No, I'm only going to get one. So unless you have one, let's say the eczema is for, I don't know, your arm or your shoulder, let's say for your shoulder, and let's say that the tropical cream, if qualified, is for your knee, then yeah, you would get one because it damaged your shirt. You would get another because it would damage your pants. But if they're both in the same location, you're only going to get one. Hopefully that's clear. So if they're in the same location, you're only going to go what? Both knees, you get one. Both ankles, you're getting one. Okay? Because you only got one pair of pants you're wearing. If it's different, like I get four a year. One for the ankle, one for the back, one for the knee, and they give me one for my hands. I can't explain the one for my hands. I don't have an explanation for that one. But I get the one for the what do you call those damn things? I wear them on my hands at night when I go to sleep. I get one for those. That one I can't explain, but they included it in the list. And I'm not going to argue with them with it. I've been getting it now for the last 4 years or 5 years, and it just got approved again. So I don't argue with them with that one because I can't explain that one. But I know why I get the one for my back. I know why I get the one for my knee, and I know why I get the ones for my ankle. And the one for my ankle, because somebody's going to ask this, is a custom-made AFO. So with a custom-made AFO, that's the only reason I'm getting that one. If it was a normal AFO, I would not be getting paid for that one. But because the custom-made one is much larger and they had to make it shorter so my knee brace would fit, that's why I get that one. Okay? That's the reason why. Yeah, I had carpal tunnel, but I forgot the explanation that they gave me. They're on both legs. Yeah. So you're only going to get one. If they've been paying you for one all this time, that's all they're going to continue to pay you for. But I will tell you guys, back in the days when I first started getting my clothing allowance, I only had to fill out that form one time, and I used to get paid for both knees. They used to do it. They don't do that anymore. Also, you guys are supposed to go get your prosthetic devices checked. Now, when it comes to creams, that's easy enough to prove because you keep getting these creams either every month, every 3 months, or however they're coming to you. But when it comes to prosthetic devices, you're supposed to get those devices inspected at least once every 2 years or once every 3 years. Now, if you find yourself putting in a clothing allowance and you have not had that device inspected in the last 2 to 3 years and you get denied, that's why you're denied. They ain't denying you because you're no longer service connected. They're denying you because you haven't had them inspected. And until you get them inspected, they're going to continue to deny it. Okay? So if that's you out there, you just put in for a clothing allowance. They sent you a letter back saying they denied you. You need to take your butt down to your prosthetics department and let them examine your devices. Write it up. Yes, we just looked at them. They're fine, blah, 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 blah. Then go submit your claim. Then you will be awarded again. You should be getting a letter from the VA explaining that at least once. It's either once every 2 years or once every 3 years. They need to examine your devices. Okay? All right, guys. So if there's no other questions, I appreciate everybody coming on and watching as always. Any other questions you guys have, if you're watching this on the replay, please leave comments below. Until then, guys, I appreciate everybody watching. I am out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.